welcome to your regular TV program where we shed light on issues surrounding Christianity. Israel, Muslims controversial, but today we are going to be looking at something quite controversial. You know what I mean? We have concluded our work on the Christianity and politics, and today we are back on our regular TV program where we look at our still brethren. Then under our still brethren, we are going to be handling Christianity and culture. And one of such cultures that we are going to be dealing with today is the most controversial topic that everyone has been talking about: the Osu and Diala. My name is Esther Chukunamso Okobasi, and we are going to be having so many guests on set today. And don't forget to send us your question, menoflightmediahouse247@yahoo.com or menoflightmediahouse247@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. You can also follow me personally, Esther at menoflightmedia.com on Instagram. And trust me, we'll do justice to every of your questions and give us suggestions, whoever you want to have on set. As long as it's not Donald Trump, trust me, we'll bring the person on set. Alright. Back in the city of Enugu State, capital of Enugu State, we'll be doing justice to this topic, and I have great men, fathers, and able ministers of the new covenant to help us shed light on this topic. Permit me to visit some of our fathers in the house. So it's a good privilege to have you. Can we know your name and the church?
My name's Bishop Joseph Onochukwu of Grace of God Mission, Enugu here.
Wow, it's a great privilege to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Bishop Team, OBDK Fed Production Radio Broadcast.
Oh, you really sound like a broadcaster.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on our set. So it's more like a challenge between both of us.
Yeah, we'll do well.
Alright, thank you so much. Sir, come in with me.
Bishop Onaji Godwin is my name, the Deputy PFN Chairman for Enugu State and Presiding Bishop, Revival Time Mission, Nigeria.
Thank you so much. We heard that you've been doing a great job on this issue.
By the grace of God.
Wow. How much effort have been done so far on this matter?
Well, as a preacher, when I returned home to my village, that was the first thing I encountered. It was the first challenge I met, 1979, when I returned home. In Imo State, you call it Osu. Here we call it Ohu. Ohu. And Amade. Ohu and Amade. Some call that Ohu Akishi, has 6 fingers. Oshiishi, at the stench. They go by different derogatory names here. So I fought against this very stigma. It's a social stigma, I call it. I fought with it headlong. And then at the time, it looked as if I was having a breakthrough. But suddenly, it fell back again because of my Christian brethren who refused to let it go.
Wow.
They refused to let it go.
Thank you so much for your effort, but we trust God that
Amen.
you'll be able to handle this issue today.
Amen.
Alright, sir, can we meet you?
Yeah, Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Akoma. I'm the president of Miracle World Christian College and Seminary.
Wow, that means you like miracles.
Miracle is
Everybody does.
Everybody does.
I hope miracle money is not part of it.
No. We're talking about something genuine now. Not fake.
Thank you so much, sir. Alright, and then we have someone else who in Lagos it looks like 3 people. First, it looks like Bishop Wale Adefarasi of Guiding Light Assembly, and also looks like somehow partly like Bishop Tony Okafor, and also partly like Pastor Paul Adefarasi. He's I think he's the first person that I've been speaking to on this matter. Everyone we ever spoke to always referred us to this man, and I'm so grateful to have met him today. That is such a great privilege to have you on our set in your office.
Good. Well, people refer you to me because of these great men that you have. We submit to one another and we take responsibility for the city as elders. And I'm in leadership position because they asked me to stand for them. So whenever inquiry is made about things happening in town around, comes to me, and then I get in touch with them. Bishop Dr. Obi Udezwe Honorable. Here is Rock Family Church, and I'm the head pastor here. I used to be the PFN chairman in Enugu State. I just handed over to a much younger man who is doing it.
And others look like him. He doesn't look like him. He's about 78 years old.
No, I'm 79.
79?
Yes.
Wow.
You can say Pastor Paul Adifarasi looks like him, and then he looks like Pastor Wale Adifarasi.
Okay, well, we can fix that. Certainly, God Okafor looks like him.
Really?
Because God is a little bit 60. So you are ahead.
Alright, sir. Thank you so much. Bishop God has actually said a lot about you.
God is a good man.
Alright, thank you, sir. And I'm sure all of us are aware of the Usu and the Diala system that runs mostly in Igbo land. Now, the Usu and the Diala, we realize that in most communities where such is being practiced, we also have strong Christian churches. Let me use brethren. Churches in those systems, those areas, and most of the members of those churches are those who practice these things. Not they say, we proves. We know that, but we know of a certain pastor who said, who is actually fighting this system. But when his daughter was about to get married, he found out that his assistant pastor who wanted to marry the daughter, he had assumed in quotes, and he said, over his dead body, the man married his daughter.
Wow.
So the marriage was called off 2 days before the marriage. It was called off, and then the young man left the church, started up something fresh. And thank God today that work is going. So we want to know actually, what is this Unsu and Diala system in Igbo land?
I think it depends on the particular part of. I know there is a meeting point, but I come from Anambra State, Gidi in Anambra State. I didn't live in the village or among my people. I grew up and lived here in Enugu. Ministry started here in Enugu. So I don't have any critical experience. But what I noticed each time I visited was that the people that are referred to as this sometimes are embarrassed because they don't even know the origin of it. Somebody had to tell them that your great-grandfather or such was given as a gift to the idols of the land. And therefore you came from that, and therefore you are labeled as this and that. So actually the point I'm making, it depends on the area one comes from. It's a taboo that is given to some people who do not even know why it's given to them. But they are told that as a result of certain things. You know, a woman is given, a young girl is given as a gift to an idol or as a gift to a community because of certain things they believe their God did. And that starts off something. That's my own area. That's part of how it starts.
Yeah, the reason I want to come in now is because Bishop Nunadi will come later. He has a little bit more idea about it.
Yeah.
I'm from Umweri. And the name that I answer, Obi Dike, is not Obi Dike, Obi Dike, Obieze Dike. That is the king's palace is Supreme. So this man, Obi Dike, happens to be the Igwe, which is the head of all the idols in our community. That is, in Igbo land we have a culture culture, there's nothing wrong with culture. But you can make a deadly tradition out of your culture. So that's what brought about this Osu and the rest of them. Living in the palace, there are people there that I know, not stories. I know them very well. They are not from my village. They're not from my hometown. And nobody will ever marry them or their sons or their daughters. If they want to get married, they have to go to somewhere else. The reason, the one person I know is that the guy was brought into our community, by our community. They went somewhere else and got him. Why? Because they want him to serve the idol. He serves under my father, Obi Dike. So his job was to go and sacrifice for the idol. If there is a time to go and sacrifice, he will carry all the big loads, and carry the goats, and he will go and sacrifice. So he's a slave to the idol. Now, if he's a slave to the idol, it's a taboo for anybody to marry the daughter or to let the son marry a son. So it was like something like that. And then that thing grew. But it's not really practiced some extent now, but it's deeply there. The first thing an Umweri man will tell you if you're going to go and get married, will say, go and check the family. Why do they say go and check the family? It's to find out if they have Osu or Uru Alose, a slave to idol. If they're slave to idol, in quote, royal family will not marry them. So it's really a big problem. Royal family. That is people that are, you know what I mean by royal family.
So that means an ordinary person within the community can marry them apart from royals.
Ordinary people can marry them. But if you marry them, there are certain places you will not enter. The people will say, okay, you're still there. You're still there. But Christians try to pretend that it's not there. But it's still there. Anywhere you go in Igbo land, it's still there. Somebody will say, don't go back to that family. Why? If you trace the history, they will tell you that his great-grandfather was a gift from that idol. His great-grandmother, this happened, it's related to idol. Relate to idol worship, slavery.
Thank you very much. Is that okay?
Yeah, I am from Ghana, in Enugu State here. And I think the main problem is that people lack knowledge as a result of having no information. When you are rightly informed, you will have knowledge. And you will not make mistakes in certain things you do. This thing called Usu, Uhu, or Idiana, people don't know how it started. We are informed by our old men. My own grandfather was alive when I became an adult. And I asked him, I said, what brought to this? He said, during their time, when they have tribal or community wars, if this community is able to defeat the other community, they will capture some of them. They are now war captives, men and women, and they will bring them back to their community. And they will begin to do some menial jobs. They now call them war captives, slaves, who, and in fact, they are used as animals. Sometimes when a chief dies, a traditional ruler who is popular, they will use one of them to bury the chief. While burying the chief, they will give one of them tobacco box, snuff box, and say, hold it, and it will be buried with the traditional ruler, so that in the world of the spirits, when he wants to snuff, you will serve him with the snuff. And after it finished snuffing, he will give it back to you. So those of them who are still alive are now slaves. Then again, there are some poor people in the community. When they need money to take care of their children, maybe they have a lot of children. Some poor people will have up to 10 children, 8 children, and they lack money. They cannot take care of the rest of the children. They will sell some of these their children. They will sell 1 or 2 out of this number of children and earn money in order to take care of the rest of their children. The people that buy them will take them to their place and they will become slaves. They will use them anyhow. They can kill, they can use them to serve their shrines or their idols, or they can use them to bury their traditional rulers who are well-to-do and who are famous in their society. So that's how you have them. Those of them who survive begin to bear children. They will give them a place, they will give them a separate place to live in the society, in the community. They are slaves, they are uhus, they are dealers. Again, some of these people they call slaves or uhu are people who travel out. Maybe in their community, they commit a kind of sacrilege. They commit a kind of crime. Maybe they stole yam or they slept with women that are related to them, which is a taboo in their community. The law of the community says you must not sleep with a woman who is close to you or who is related to you. So when they sleep with a woman who is close to them, they and the woman, they will be thrown out of the community. And they go to any other community or any other town. They will live there never to come back. And right there now, they receive them as slaves or who they are there. And they begin to bear children. And their children will not be allowed to be married to those communities. And the community will not marry their children. That's how some of these things came up. As a matter of fact, nobody is born to be Ohu or to be Osu or Idiala. It's as a result of some of these things I have mentioned. That's why I say that when people have no proper information, they lack knowledge and they behave foolishly. Some of the people that have come to know this truth now, they now correct the mistakes. In my own community, in Kerefi, in Kano, Osu, what you call Idiala, is abolished. You cannot mention it. Whether you are a Christian or you are not a Christian, you cannot call anybody Ohu or Osu. It is there in my own community now. Because they were properly taught. They knew these things, and I have just said.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, sir. Have we heard?
Yeah, I come from Abia State. And in my own community, the story we heard about this is that some people that committed some crimes, like he said, and then when the community want to deal with them, they will run into the shrines for the gods to protect them. And then when they run into the shrines, you can't go there to touch them. So they are given over to these gods. And then these people are marked by the community. You don't relate with them. Just like in my environment, there are some sheep you find, multitude of them walking around dedicated to the gods. You don't touch them. They believe that anything that is under the covering of the gods, you don't go close. For you to get close to them, you'll be incurring the wrath of the gods. So that's why people don't intermarry with them. They don't want to do anything with them because they believe that they have been handed over to the gods. And that is as far as the stories are. And but today, those things seem to have died off. People can't even trace who belongs to this or that, who is an Osu person, or they can't trace that anymore in my community. So because of that, there's a death of it now. Nobody can even tell. Originally, it wasn't like that.
So because there is a place in Abia State, in Umuahia to be precise. There's a village that they call Umuosu. Are you aware of that?
I'm not from that environment. I'm from Olokro in Umuahia.
Yes. Within that Olokro, Even in Ologoro, they have the Umos, just like they have Umunemeze in Ologoro have in Omu. Those people cannot be married or associate with the other people. In fact, they marry themselves because they call them Umos. You find them in Abia State, Umuahia. You find them in Ologoro, you find them within the Ukwebu side.
In my community,
seems to answer the same similar names.
Yeah, in my community, there are people you don't marry.
Okay.
That means you don't intermarry because of the kind of relationship with the forefathers. They believe that if you marry from there, that's a cause. That's number one. Number two is that you might marry somebody who is somehow related to you. Like in my place I come from, in the attitude to have 1, 2, 3, 4 communities. There are environments you cannot marry. From this side they say you can marry from here. You cannot marry from here.
Precisely because you are related.
Yeah. Yes. You are somehow related. That's a blood relationship. Not about the issue now.
Okay, sir. Alright. The man who has been on the project for a very long time. Sir, please help us do justice to Crystal.